What's up guys, it's me Jeremy. Adding characters into the game that have already existed in the lore for a long time is not uncommon in the League of Legends universe, and as such, there's quite a few characters that stick out and peculiar as having a lot of potential to be released as champions in the future. And although I do pay attention to the lore a pretty decent amount, I'm definitely no expert. So to help me with this list, I've brought in someone who is, my man, Necrit.
Hello everyone and welcome! My name is Necrit, and today I'm here as Jeremy's sidekick. But when I'm not a sidekick, I talk about the lore of the League of Legends universe on my own channel. So if you'd like to see more videos similar to this one, feel absolutely free to check it out.
As well, if you guys enjoyed the video, hit that like button, and if you don't, please hit the dislike. Anyways, let's get started. So a few examples of characters in the past who were heavily involved in the lore before they became champions, and then would get added into the game later on, included characters like Jarvan, whose father, Jarvan III, was heavily involved in the lore and was eventually killed, and his son was released as a champion. And more recently, Aurelian's Soul actually, who was seen in the Spirit Guard Udyr comic and other mentions of stories here and there. And with those examples, it's not hard to see the potential that some of the more prominent and interesting lore characters have to become champions in the future, since developing the personality and story is one of the most important parts of designing a champion, and all of those characters have those things pretty much fully fleshed out for the most part. Anyways, let's pass it over to Necrit to kick off the list.
Number 5 is Raven. Raven is Miss Fortune's first shipmate on her ship called the Siren. He first appeared during the events of Burning Tides. He was the one responsible for putting all of Miss Fortune's plans together and ultimately blowing up Gangplank's ship, the Deadpool. His legacy continued in the Shadow and Fortune story. Here, he stood beside Miss Fortune as they repelled the armies of the Shadow Isles. He often questioned her decisions and offered his own solutions, revealing that Raven is very smart and experienced in combat. He is the master of stealth and thievery. His ability to blend into crowds and disappear into shadows is the reason Miss Fortune uses him as her main source of information. Overall, Riot put a lot of effort into Raven's character. His interactions with Lucian and Illaoi during the Shadow and Fortune story made him very charismatic, comedic, yet loyal character with fair amount of development too. This may be a solid hint that Riot is planning on using him as a separate champion in the future.
Number 4 is the Gambler of the River. Tahm Kench doesn't have too much story behind him compared to some other champions, but the few lines of lore that he does have talk about a young gambler who Tahm Kench made a deal with. The gambler agreed to let Tahm Kench take him to a place he didn't know so that he could start a new life. The agreed price was a meal that would satisfy Tahm Kench when the time came. Years passed and the gambler found his love. Unfortunately for him, that time with Tahm Kench came at the worst possible moment. He emerged during the gambler's wedding and started eating gifts, gold, even the house, but nothing could satisfy him. The bride was the meal that finally stopped his hunger. As for his development as a character, Riot has confirmed that the Gambler is not Twisted Fate, and it's likely that Riot wants to have a few windows open in case they would want to connect their new champions with currently existing lore, which might have us see the Gambler potentially become a champion in the future.
Number 3 is Professor Stanwyck. Stanwyck is a character that played major role in the lore of multiple champions, the main two being Blitzcrank and Victor. Both Stanwyck and Victor attended Zone's College of Techmaturgy, where together with other scientists under the lead of Victor, they constructed Blitzcrank. Victor was shocked when he found out that Stanwyck stole all the credit for developing Blitzcrank and later even used the same research to revive Urgot. One could almost say that Stanwyck was the reason why Victor turned into a bad guy. He fell into deep depression and started working on the Glorious Evolution project, locked away from outside world, so that no one could ever steal his work again. Professor Stanwyck is not the greatest fighter, but neither was Victor in the lore, so I am sure Riot could easily turn him into a champion with a little bit more development. And the vast history he shares with Victor, Blitzcrank and Urgot shows a lot of personality of Stanwyck as a character.
Number 2 is the Ruined King. Blade of the Ruined King is an item very well known among the game, but unlike other items, Blade of the Ruined King has its own lore, and a lot more to it than just being good against tanks. Many years ago there was a king that ruled over a hidden place in Runeterra called the Blessed Isles. Over time his mind had been ruined by grief and madness until he unleashed a terrible spell that condemned the Isles to darkness, turning them into the Shadow Isles. At the time, Mordekaiser's skull was locked away beneath these lands, behind a spell ward. The cataclysm was so strong it shattered the earth and revealed the skull, allowing Mordekaiser to be resurrected. It is because of the Ruined King that Mordekaiser lives, and the spell that revived Mordekaiser turned every living being on those isles into the undead, making them Mordekaiser's servants. It's highly possible that Riot will turn the Ruined King into an actual champion later on. Not only would it make sense because the dark magic resurrected everything that died that day, but he's been hinted to be a major character ever since the Twisted Treeline remake, and with the incredible history that the Ruined King has with Mordekaiser, there's already quite a few concepts of being an undead mage maybe, that he could use to develop his kit, in addition to his personality and backstory.
And number 1 is General Dooku To. The House Dooku To is a family organization that plays a huge role in Noxus. The leader of this organization used to be General Dooku To, but after his mysterious disappearance, his daughter, Katarina, stepped up to become a new leader. The story of General Dooku To started in the old Journal of Justice, but later on, he was used in Talon's lore quite heavily. Talon used to be a thief that lived in the underbelly of Noxus. His mastery of Blade quickly marked him as a threat, and Noxian guilds sent assassins after him with the demand to join their ranks or be killed. Talon killed everyone but one man. General Dooku To was the only Blade Master in all of Noxus who was able to successfully defeat Talon. And when the general gave Talon the same offer, Talon accepted and became an assassin for the Noxian High Command. General Dooku To is a character that has had a lot of speculation to become a champion ever since his first appearance in the Journal of Justice. He has a lot of personality and story developed already, parts of which could heavily hint at or influence his abilities in-game. And we are definitely looking forward to if that day comes.
And that wraps up the list. Mega thanks to Necrit for helping me with the video today. It definitely wouldn't have been possible without him. He does a lot of similar lore videos on his channel, so if you enjoyed the video, or maybe you're just like me and you enjoy his voice, definitely check him out and I'm sure you'll find some cool stuff. Either way, thanks for watching and I'll see you guys next time.